Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the Hi-Point 9mm rifle. Okay, now this is not my rifle. I'm actually holding it for a friend of mine. Um, but while I had it here, I basically took advantage of the opportunity to do some shooting with it. I've actually do have a quite bit of experience on this, going back about maybe 8 years ago. Because at one point I actually did own this a rifle like this, not this exact one. So I had my experience, and basically what I want to do is I want to talk to you guys about this rifle and about Hi-Point in general, because a lot of times what I find is people talk about talk about Hi-Point in general without having personal hands-on experience with them, and a lot of times they're not being fair to the rifle. They're judging it just based on what they've heard from other people, or just based on the way the rifle looks, and they don't have the hands-on experience with it. Okay, so first thing I'm going to say is that the rifle does work. Okay, and in fact, as far as Hi-Point goes, of between the rifles and the pistols, if you are going to buy a Hi-Point, I would probably recommend the rifle rather than any of their pistols. And I'll talk about that in a few minutes. The rifle does work. The problem that I did have with this rifle was with the magazines. Okay, basically, the magazines they're pretty thin, and they've got these feed lips over here. And what happens is that if you shoot the rifle enough, or if you drop the magazines, the feed lips can basically get bent out of place, because you have these two lips that come out like that. And basically, Hi-Point does tell you that if you're getting nose ups or nose downs, because that's what's going to happen. If the lips get bent out of place, when the bullets go to feed, they'll either nose down or nose up. And what Hi-Point tells you is that basically take a pair of needle nose pliers and adjust them, and that does work. And it worked when I had that issue. The problem is because these those feeding lips are so thin, and the metal is so soft. It's not hardened or anything like that. It's so soft. Eventually, they will get bent out of place again. And basically, I found that to be a pain in the ass, and that's why I got rid of my Hi-Point rifle. Okay, but besides that, the rifle does work. At one point, I think I had an extended 15-round magazine. They don't. I don't think the company that was making that is making it anymore. They have this. I did not like the way that the charging bolt, it kind of basically screws in, and basically as you're shooting it, sometimes that it will unscrew, and basically your bolt's just gonna fall to the ground. And if you're shooting in a rocky or in a gravel area, you can lose your bolt like that. Okay, the rear sight is adjustable for elevation and windage. It basically has a ghost ring in the back, and you have your a front sight post. Basically, it's kind of like your standard kind of AR-15 type of that's what you're gonna get. As far as the image, the picture that you're gonna get, the sight picture. That's the word I was looking for. Ghost ring in the back and the front sight in the front. The rifle is pretty light, and this is one of those rifles where I never took it apart. And in general, these type of rifles, they are a pain in the ass to take them apart. You basically have to watch a video when you do clean a rifle like this. Basically, you'll lock it open, and the easiest way to do it is just get a brush in there and the sprays and try to clean it without really stripping the gun down. So that's how I used to clean it when I did have it, and I really didn't clean it that often. It did work fine. Okay, so other than the magazines, being too soft, and basically the lips bending out of place, the rifle does work fine. Okay, the other thing is there's no tactical rails on this, so you really can't mount a red dot or anything like that. What I ended up doing is I ended up selling this, and I bought the Beretta CX4 Storm rifle, which I'm very happy with, and that's been working great. So that's my thoughts on the Hi-Point 9mm rifle. The gun works except for the magazines. And the magazine, like I said, the magazines, they work as long as they don't get bent. Okay. while we're here, let's talk about high point pistols. Okay, and at one point I did own a one of the 9mm pistol. I think I held on to that for about a week or two, and then I basically got rid of it. And I was having feeding problems with that, most likely related to the to the magazine lips. I don't think I had quite figured out the solution at that point. So I was having problems with with the feeding. Over the years, I have trained. People have come to me, or I've gone to people, and the gun that they had bought was the some high point gun, some high point pistol. I've seen that they've had similar issues. The rear sight on some of those pistols is plastic, so especially they give you this big ghost ring, the one I'm thinking about, the one guy I was training, he had a 45 high point and 45 ACP, basically we were basically I think it was like almost brand new. And the ghost ring basically broke, or it came broken. I don't remember what the situation was, but we went to shoot it, and there was no rear sight. They do give you a second sight that you can put in there. They do give you the dovetail as well, and you can kind of swap it in and out. Now the thing with the high points is that the reason why the pistols will seem so big and bulky, okay, is because basically it is a blowback design. The design is the same as that which goes on a 22 pistol, okay. And basically what that means is there's no locking mechanism, right? For example, if you look at a Glock or most of those, basically you'll notice that when you lock open your slide, the barrel tilts up, okay. So basically it drops. And then when you put it back into battery, you'll notice that it comes up and it locks into place, okay? With the high point barrels, they don't move. They're fixed. It's just like a 22. So because the barrel doesn't lock, it doesn't have that locking mechanism, somehow they need to stop the slide from opening just long enough for the bullet to get out of the barrel. So since it doesn't have the locking mechanism, the mechanism that they use is they use a very heavy slide, a top slide, and basically the mass of that slide basically stops. It basically prevents the slide from opening up too fast. It gives the bullet a chance to get out the barrel. So because it has more mass, it takes longer for it to start moving. Okay, so that's the mechanism that high point uses. Instead of using a locking mechanism, they use the heavy slide. So that's why it is so big and bulky. If you're going to buy high point pistol, I would probably recommend the 45. And the reason is because most 45 pistols are pretty big anyway. So like basically if you compare like a 9mm or the 380 is probably the worst choice for a high point, because basically you get a 380 in the size of a 45, which is, basically it doesn't make sense to have such a low power caliber and such a big gun. With the 45, you're getting, or the 40, you're getting, you're getting a bigger round, and you're really not giving up that much capacity, because basically if you get, let's say you have a 1911, you're only getting 8 rounds anyway, so you're not, you're getting a single stack, so you're really not losing out that much. Whereas with a 9mm, typically you'll get a double stack, so you have twice the capacity. So there are my thoughts on that. If you're going to get a high point pistol, get the 40 or 45. It doesn't make sense to get the 380 or the 9mm. Okay, and beyond that, to me, it's a question of, should you buy the gun, should you not buy the gun? Well, the question there is, what are you paying for? So to me, basically this is a $150 gun. Okay, so if you're paying $150, certainly nothing more than $200, right? But if you're paying $150 for this gun, brand new, you're getting a decent deal. Okay, up to $200, maybe, not one penny more than that. If you're gonna pay more than $200 for this gun, you're better off buying something else, and that goes with the pistols too. If you're getting the high point, for about $100, high point pistol for $150, brand new, I'm like, what the hell, But if you're gonna pay more than that, you can get, you got Ruger, you got Smith & Wesson, you've got, much better options. You can pay just a little bit more, you can pay, $250 or $300 and you can get yourself a better gun. So there are my thoughts on High Point. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.